of Project 10, which is a global speaking initiative where 10 members will each deliver 10 speeches in 10 different countries. This is really exciting. The speakers are based in Malaysia and Singapore, and our guest Albert has been to 30 different countries so far, and he landed in Wageningen at Toastmasters Wageningen. We are really honored to have you and listen to your speech, which is titled Evaluations of Opportunity or Threat, which is part of the Strategic Relationships Pathway. Albert, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this part of the world, we always say evaluation is the breakfast of champions. Is that so? Let me put you all a question. Can you recall a time when the evaluation that you received as a Toastmasters or even outside Toastmasters was so harsh, so invalid that you were looking for deliverance? Think about it. But why is that? What is this love-hate relationship with feedback? When I was a new Toastmaster, I was asked to deliver a toast speech, to propose a toast, because the original role player couldn't make it. And since I was nervous, I was new, I wasn't at my best. So I sort of fumbled it. And the general evaluator said, Albert, your toast lacked substance. Imagine that, a Toastmaster delivering a toast which lacks substance. Ouch. But when everything settled down, I tried to think back and say, why was I offended? Why was I unhappy? So I did some research, and there's this one excellent source by a person called Sheila Heen, who pointed out that human beings have a love-hate relationship with feedback. On one hand, we want to learn, we want to progress, and we want to take risks, and so that we can advance to the next level. And that's why we are all in Toastmasters. But on the other hand, we want to be loved. We want to feel accepted for who we are. It's okay if you push me a little, but try not to do it too much, or I may get unhappy. Everybody's tolerance limits are different, but all of us fundamentally struggle with these two areas. If you have at least one experience where you were not very happy with the evaluation you received, that person probably pushed a button which triggered your negative emotions. I would like to share my slide. So here we go. There is a conflict between a part of us who want to learn something new, but then on the other hand, we want to feel accepted and respected for who we are right now. There are three triggers of feedback as proposed by this lecturer at Harvard, Sheila Heen. When we are given feedback or evaluation, three things happen in our mind up here. The first one, the truth trigger. We started to question the evaluation itself. Was it true that I was monotonous? Was it true that I was speaking a bit too fast? I wasn't speaking too fast. I could understand myself. Next one, relationship trigger. This person who is evaluating me is my mentee. I bet he doesn't know as much. Or, oh, this person is a DTM. Maybe he knows a lot. Maybe I should listen to him. That's right. Sometimes we have a relationship bias. Now that can be dangerous because everybody has something to offer. But then again, we filter evaluations or even feedback according to the person who is delivering it and not the actual feedback quality. Does this ring a bell in any of us? Lastly, and this is a deeper revelation, the identity trigger. When I received that feedback, I asked myself, now I have been a Toastmasters for about a year at a time. Did I learn something? Why was my speech lacking substance even after a year? you could see that I'm starting to have my own self-doubt after receiving a feedback. So this is what feedbacks do. Sometimes they would make us question ourselves and challenge who we are as a person. That could be devastating or that could be helpful. So in my short speech today, in sharing these 3 triggers of feedback, I would also like to add on by saying, what are the 3 things that we can do to manage these triggers so that it works in our favor instead of devastating us and hampering our growth. First one, the truth trigger. So instead of asking backward questions that, for example, was it really true that I was speaking very fast? Or was it really true that I was monotonous? Maybe we can turn it around and say, now, how can I use this evaluation to the best of my benefit? So instead of thinking about the past, we think about the future. So doing this, we will be able to recognize the value in every feedback we receive. Next one, relationship trigger. Now, relationship trigger is like a bias. We have biases, whether we are aware of it or not. But the most important thing is to be aware of it and to make sure that we are open to feedback from as many people as possible, because everyone has something to offer. Even if it's our mentee or even if it's a new member in the club, sometimes a new member could give me a perspective that I couldn't see myself and no one else in the room could see. So recognizing that aspect definitely can make us go very far. But by far, Dr. Shilahin did mention that this is the hardest trigger to manage because it is deeply ingrained in our culture sometimes as to what sort of biases we have, and it is not always easy to confront those biases. The last item, sorry, I missed a share screen. The last one, identity trigger. So what happens when our own self is being challenged? We can adopt a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. This is a concept that is popularized by Carol Dweck from Stanford University. Having a growth mindset means that I'm not bound by any boundary, but instead I take control because I want to go further, and there's always room for me to go further. So nothing that people say should make me limit myself, which is actually the opposite, which is the fixed mindset. So in summary, the 3 triggers that we have during our evaluation may make the evaluation an opportunity or a threat. It is up to us in our practice as a Toastmaster to see how we can harness the triggers so that they work for us instead of destroying us and stopping our growth in Toastmasters and in our personal life. Thank you so much, and I hope you benefit from my short today. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you, Albert, very much for tackling this issue.